ready? Done? Cool. All right, so what we're going to do today is we need to understand how we can either get achieved merit or excellence for our current unit, which is looking at how we've employed some strategies to get better at badminton. So by the end of today, what we're going to understand is how we have used knowledge of technique, which fits into this. But let me explain a little bit further how you're going to get assessed here. So far what we've done is you have designed 3 training sessions using some strategies to get better at badminton. You've then used those 3 sessions. What you need to do now then is you need to say, well, how well did those strategies work? The 2 strategies, you have to do that for 2 strategies. So what you're going to do is you're going to produce either 2 pieces of writing or 2 verbal assessments to show me that. The first one, the first piece of writing or the first verbal assessment, you must talk to me about knowledge of technique. Okay? It has to be that. There's no choice. All right? And the second one, so that's one. The second one you might choose, what's one of the strategies, or what's some of the strategies we've used? Mass practice, good. So it could be on mass practice. Okay, what's another strategy that we've used quite a lot of? Feedback, good. So it could be on feedback. Okay, so really those are the 3 main ones we've used. So you definitely have to do knowledge of technique, and then you're probably choosing between one of these 2. What does it look like? Okay, so you have to, as I said, produce 2 pieces, one on this and one on one of these 2. And what you're doing is you are evaluating. Okay, so evaluating, what do you do when you evaluate something?
You conclude it, like sum up everything.
Good, you sum everything up, and because you use that word conclusion, you make a conclusion, which means you're making judgments about something. So when you make a judgment about something, you're saying, well, knowledge of technique worked well, it didn't work well, or it kind of worked well. That's one part of it. Good. What else do you do when you evaluate something? I'll ask this question. Before you can say something's worked well, or not well, or kind of well, what must you have a look at first?
Your feedback.
Could be, yep, could be feedback. Does that give you a clue? Yeah, good. So we have to look at the positives of that.
And the negatives.
And the negatives. Okay? So you have to look at the positives and the negatives of that. Okay? So what we mean by that is, what was the positives of the knowledge of technique on making you better at badminton? And how do you know? So you have to tell me some evidence. And what were the negatives of using knowledge of technique, if there are any? And how do you know? And then you make a judgment then, so overall, based on the positives and negatives, I conclude that it was really good, kind of good, not good at all. Okay? Yep. And you might add one more thing in there. Starts with I, M. Improvements. Okay? Alright? Yeah, improvements. And what you're proud of might come into positives. So that's a valid thing too. Alright? So, just to sum up, what we have to do when we are evaluating, for example, knowledge of technique, is when you are doing your piece of writing, you tell me what type of strategy you used, how you used it, which is what we're going to unpack today, why you were using it, so this is what you were hoping to achieve by learning knowledge of strategy or knowledge of technique or mass practice or feedback, and then so what? What actually happened? What were the positives? So you've already started that work, because what you're doing is you have done your 3 sessions, and then after the first 2 sessions, what I got you to do was do what? You came and sat down and did what? Pardon? You talked, and what were you answering? What questions were you answering?
How we felt.
Yep. So you are answering these questions. You are answering, did the session help you improve? So you're already starting to evaluate. And how do you know? So you started to provide evidence. What was the positives of these sessions? What was the negatives of that session? So you're already starting to do that. So some of your thinking is already done. Alright? So before we turn the video off, is there any part or questions?
No.
Okay. Alright. So we can stop there.